I apologize if I butcher this name, but in a comment section on Vegan Deterioration Char's channel, um, um, somebody named Saoirse Formidabloom. I know that that's an Irish word meaning something related to free, but I don't know if I got that pronunciation right. But yeah, Saoirse Formidabloom asked in Char's latest video about Rlly, where is the ferritin? Like, where is Rlly's ferritin? But she asked on this video, if we're frugivores, why raw till fall? Why not raw all the time and raw fruit all the time? And the truth is, we're probably not frugivores. Like, people getting deficient on an all-fruit diet is proof of that. And I've actually joked in some comment sections that a raw carnivore till 4 diet could actually work. Because with that diet you're still getting all of the nutrients, which you're not getting with a vegetarian or vegan diet. But I think what's happening there, at least in delusional Rlly land, is she thinks it's just for people who are just moving away from meat. But in reality, what's happening is, the reason you're having cooked meals after 4 PM on this crazy high-fruit diet is that instinctually you know you're not getting enough on just fruit. So you think that cooked plants will do it, and then you deteriorate, as Rlly has, as many of her followers have, as that commenter that Char showed has. She had to go back to eating meat to rebuild her ferritin. And you do end up losing your iron with the whole thing. But why are you eating the cooked plants? And it's because you want to imitate something. Well, I'm going to use a bit of a Daphneism, and I'm not really a fan of Daphne Reloaded, but if you're watching, you might be wrong on pretty much everything, but you're a great person, and you're really good at exposing vegetoids. And you're not dumb by any means, you're just wrong. But you're craving something warm, salty, and fatty. And what's warm, salty, and fatty in nature? Oh, I don't know. An antelope's ass? A wild hog's stomach? Like, that's what's warm, salty, and fatty in nature. It's animals. If you are a herbivorous animal or a frugivorous animal, you do not crave warm, salty, and fatty. Humans do. So, humans are at least, judging by instinct, scavenger carnivores. With a high capacity to digest plants. Which is how vegans have not completely died yet, because they are using their capacity to digest plants. I would say they're overusing it, because they're trying to make their entire nutrition out of plants. It's not working, obviously, because people are dropping out after 5 years. Yeah, and also, I've been I've been looking into a, not really a low-carb diet trend, but a diet trend in the low-carb social sphere, called the croissant diet. And, the science seems solid. By the way, I'm copying my computer to a new hard disk because it's dead. But the science seems solid. On the reactive oxygen species theory of obesity. I personally don't want to be hyperglycemic, but obviously this croissant diet will cause some hyperglycemia after meals, because your fat cells become insulin resistant on the croissant diet. And that's said to be a good thing, because it prevents pathological chronic insulin resistance. That's actually it's actually plausible to me, but what's happening with the croissant diet is people are increasing their stearic acid consumption to raise their physiological insulin resistance. And what ends up happening is, even though they're still eating carbs, they get the keto satiety effect. Sorry about that. Focus, you troll. But yeah, they get the keto satiety effect, even though they're not on a low-carb diet, really. They're on a relatively low-carb diet compared to normal, but it's much higher carb than like an actual keto diet. But they get the keto satiety effect, which is they aren't hungry, and they're losing weight without being hungry, and they feel well, probably better than some keto people do, because on a keto diet, you do actually raise your cortisol a bit, which does make you a bit crazy. If you are not careful with, like, if you're not careful to prevent starvation diseases by eating enough, because you can really not eat very much on a keto diet and feel okay. Until, of course, you got the starvation symptoms, but yeah, sorry about the focus issues, it's just the continuous focus on this is not very good. Shame there's not like a manual focus. But yeah, this thing with the croissant diet, it actually made me think about Indian vegetarians, because they are eating a very dairy and sugar-rich diet, and they are only getting heart disease now that we've given them the fucking vegetable oils, and given them vegetable ghee, which is not a thing, by the way, it's vegetable oils. But they are only now getting fat with fat and diabetic with our modern foods. They weren't getting fat and diabetic long ago, when they were having the traditional diet. They were getting anemic, hi Lakshmi, but they aren't getting fat or diabetic. So I think it would be remiss to say that everybody has to be low carb. Everybody has to avoid vegetable oils for sure, but you're not going to have issues if you stay off the vegetable oils. You might have postprandial hyperglycemia if you are genetically poor carb tolerant, but you're not going to get super obesity like I did. unless you have a certain enzyme that really increases your unsaturated fat consumption from liponeogenesis. So yeah, the entire hypothesis is that saturated fat is a slimming food, and that's been borne out by people making croissants with a stearic acid enriched ghee that seems to be giving them. Yeah, they seem to be getting a lot better satiety on this relatively high carb diet than they were on keto, which, okay, that's fine. Keto served its purpose, which is to discover that you didn't need it. But I think primarily what's happening here is that this has gotten a bit wide-ranging. I went on an inconsistent Trumpian ramble. But yeah, basically, I think what's happening to Rlly is she's deluded. She thinks that she's just addicted to the meaty taste, but really she's just trying to feed her carnivorous instincts without actually eating meat. So curries, stews, all that stuff at the end of the day after 4 p.m. It's basically like she's LARPing as a frugivore for a day job, when in fact actual frugivorous animals actually eat termites. That's a thing. So I think what she should be doing is eating insects. If she wants to claim she's a frugivore, she should start eating termites and witchetty grubs if she's in Australia. But she's not going to. She's invested in the banana girl identity, which, Jesus Christ, Chica, can't you see you're withering away? Oh, Christ on a bike. Jesus Christ alive, uncircumcised on a bike. What is happening to that girl? I'm sorry for the graphic religious imagery. It's a thing.